was a few years before Vans, they make shoes and all that. Vans make. They had the Shred something Vans, and they'd put DJs on the hill, and they had Snowsports going on, and then at night they put on a club event. So that was the only thing that had been similar done. So anyway, long story short, we headed towards the march. By this point, I had 7 venues, 3 days. I couldn't even tell you how many music acts, and a comedy lineup that included Craig Campbell, Ed Byrne, what was his name? Oh God, I've forgotten his name. Irish.
Patrick.
No. Oh, it's went. It'll come back to me. And Frankie Boyle. So like right away, it was crazy. The best bit about having Frankie involved was the fact that he's like, didn't advertise it until I say that he was playing. So we were able to just market that we had a special guest. And then obviously we had the papers involved, like they were like, mate, like who's the special guest? Like, you've got Ed Byrne, so it must be somebody big and this, that and the next thing. And like 2 days before, we managed to leak that it was Frankie Boyle, and nobody believed us.
Yeah.
It was totally like, aye, right. And it didn't really represent in ticket sales. Our ticket sales were decent already, and we weren't really that bothered. But I thought when that came out, we would get a hit, and we never. And it was purely because, it's local hotels and pubs and stuff in Aviemore.
Aye.
Nobody was really expecting it at all. And on the day he arrived on a Friday, we sold out everything pretty much on the Friday, because he'd went for lunch in Aviemore and people had seen him on a high street, and it went viral. Like, it hit social media. Frankie Boyle is actually in Aviemore. And suddenly, like, all the volunteers we had, like, couldn't keep up with the ticket sales and stuff. So
I wondered what it was like for you, because I'm getting a picture you almost like you've pioneered this event, you brought all these people together, you've got various lineups.
Yep. How
does that feel, standing there and all this is happening around you and you've created it? Again, I felt like probably one of the. I remember the Saturday night. That was the biggest night, because the Friday when it kicked off, there was a lot of feelers. There was a lot of stuff. It wasn't something we could test. We couldn't have a run through of this. No.
So on the Friday night, a lot of it was me just running each venue and checking that the volunteers were happy and making sure that everything was going. So I didn't really take anything in on the Friday. It was a very work orientated Friday. By the Saturday coming around, we had stuff going up on the hill. We had snowboard lessons and ski lessons and stuff like that. And the Saturday, I kind of started to step back and kind of realise where my role needed to be and how I needed to allow them to den in. Because one thing happened on the Friday where I was needed in another venue, and I couldn't be there at that point. So there was a delay. Whereas if I just stayed central, I could have been anywhere where I was needed. So by the Saturday, I was stood just as Ed Byrne was introduced to the stage. And I was in the main venue speaking to my venue staff, and he come on, and the roar in that room was amazing. And I think probably I felt more like a punter. At no point did it sink in that I'd created this. And I never ever say that I created it either, really on my own. I know it was my idea, and I put together, and I put in sometimes 20-hour days and stuff trying to create this. But had it not been for my team around me, who were all volunteers, most of them with no experience in events or anything like that at all, like coming from computer backgrounds where the the computer,
but just coming along to help you,
but just come to do it for me and for the charity, and I think that was probably the biggest part of it, was how I felt that people were willing to do that for me. The videographer, a gentleman called Jeff Baxter from his company's Watch the Birdie, an amazing videographer for weddings and stuff like that. He decided upon himself he would go around the first year and interview the volunteers, and I never knew. And it was all about, like, what do you think of Stephen Barbour for doing this and blah blah blah. And honestly, it's really, really nice to hear that they were there for the charity and for me. And I kind of like that was cool. So it wasn't. At no point did I have that
ego.
Aye, no, because
that's where it's coming in my head. Yeah,
because it's not, for me. It wasn't about the ego. You know what? All the volunteers absolutely loved their time. Like they loved it. All the people that were leaving loved it. Everyone had a great time, and that was what it was for. And we raised money for charity. That's it. So everything that I wanted, people to have a good time, smile, and leave talking about it.
and make money for a charity. That was it. That was the goal, and we done it over the 3 days. It was amazing, and the Scottish weather held up, and we actually got some snowboarding and skiing in as well. Which was a good benefit. So the snow sports side of the festival was. So quickly, right away, as soon as it finished. I mean, that finished on the Sunday. We cleared out the venues late Sunday. We had a big staff party, and Monday everything was kind of off-site in a way, because it's basic setups in the venues. So you've like got marquees and all that kind of thing to go. And by the Tuesday, my phone was already ringing, people asking about the following year and what the dates were. So I said to everybody,
how did that feel?
Exciting. It was exciting again, and it was good. It was like I'd done it. So I said I would take a week, and then I'd start thinking about it again. I took 3 days. That was enough. So I took 3 days, and I was right on the phone to volunteers. Now I wanted people's feedback and stuff like that. I took a couple of volunteers with me when we presented the check to Chaz, and I took another couple with me when we went back up and gave them Disability Snowsports a check, because I wanted them to kind of be involved with that as well. So again, we got the tour. It was a hospice in Bala. So like the volunteers got to see the real reason why we're doing it, and like my kind of passion behind it.
I'm getting the sense that the experience of the people there and the experience of the volunteers felt more important to you than your part in it.
Possibly, aye. Yeah. Well, that's exciting for me.
Yeah.
Like to give people the experience, so I enjoy that side of it as well, I suppose. So I never really thought about that. Yeah. So very quickly snowballed straight in. There's that pun again. Straight into then the following year, and obviously you're kind of looking at how do we build on what we done. So we added a couple of new venues. We made sure it was over the 3 days again. We tried to add more value to people's tickets. We got a bigger, like our headline band was Top Loader at the time, and so we kind of spent a bit more on bigger bands and a wee bit well-known bands, certainly locally as well, to kind of attract more of the local. Didn't matter. We had people travelling from Scotland. We sold tickets in France in our first year, so it was cool to be able to say we were already international. Play on that one, why don't we? It was a bit far-fetched, but it's true. So the second year, it kind of everything, the infrastructure was there, and it was just how do we make it a bit better, and how do we build on it, and that come really naturally. And again, it was really organic with the volunteers coming forward. And this time, what I had was volunteers saying, I know one of my friends who would love to be involved, and of course it's going to be bigger than my venues. I need more volunteers. So the volunteer team grew based on their own recommendations. They were bringing their friends, and somebody brought their brother and something. You know what I mean? So like that was great to have them coming in and growing it that way. So after that, it quickly spiraled into a different beast, but the same beast, which was
more like a well-oiled beast, if you like. It's almost like your
but with that also come like probably the second year I felt stress from it. The first year I didn't feel any stress. The second year I felt a bit stressed, just because I felt like I had something to prove. First year I never. Whereas the second year I did. I wanted to raise more for charity. I wanted people to have a better time. And all these kind of things. So
raising your game almost to a certain extent.
So and it was good. Andrew Maxwell was that other comedian that I couldn't remember. I just come back to me the other day, and he come back and played the next year. Craig come back and played. What I did find the second year is the media attention was not as friendly. Not that it was ever bad. It was never negative in any stretch. But it was like some of their comments tested the ground with comments like a festival that's not scared to play the same acts and stuff like that, which obviously before was all rosy and sweet and all the rest. I knew they're kind of being a bit edgier, and I think from that is like one of the first acts that I announced was Craig Campbell again. He'd been such a big player in the first year, and here I was using him again, but I kind of used him in a different capacity. Rather than the first year he was doing his whole gig, the second year he was more of a compere, but it was still that name. And there's a few local bands that I felt had been just unbelievable in the first year, and they had grown from their experience. And throughout the year up to it, or certainly the first 6 months up to the second festival, they they had went on to do bigger and better things. So my ethos was, well, why not still provide that platform? I'm making my platform bigger, and they're putting the work in outside in my festival.
Exactly.
You know, they're the guys that are spending all that time and money. They've all got full-time jobs, and they're putting everything into their art. Why would I not then provide them again? Why exclude them? So, you know, taking on younger bands for a second year and putting them on a bigger platform and a bigger stage was exciting
and
as well.
giving them a chance to grow. More publicity.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was a big part of it. And again, it was never taken as a negative. It was just pointed out to me that, you know, it's not always the way of festivals, you know. So I was kind of like, that's where I felt like kind of different pressures come from.
But if you're a pioneer that's creating a new festival that's never been created before, you wouldn't have any rules.
Yeah, that's true. I never made rules. We just kind of went.
You made your own.
Yeah, exactly. We laid it out. So, run up to the festival, MV Festival happened again. It went off. Made another whack of money for the charities. Kept the same charities, just done it for the same again. And again, everybody had a blast of a time. We had Terry Alderton there that year, and he had just finished being in EastEnders, or was just going into EastEnders, or went from being comedian into a soap opera thing, and then he's away with that again. We had the guy that sings the Eskimo song, Phil Nichol was there. Again, another but we also had comedians in other venues as well, and they were hosting. So we had like Izzy Lawrence, who's a really good one, and she was out and all the rest of it in different venues, and there was just a bigger buzz. There was just more local businesses involved this time, and people got it, so they realised the value and what we're bringing to the area, as well as, you know, like promoting winter sports, promoting like the arts, and then obviously the charity side of it. So the second year was awesome, and it was definitely leading into a great third year, and then I blew my back, so along come the back injury. I had a lot of wear and tear in my back anyway. Got involved in a job at the work at the time, and it kind of finished my back. So I knew I was in line for surgery. That was coming up for the second festival. Didn't know that the surgery was going to take so long. I was hoping that at the back of the second festival I'd go in for my surgery, and then I would kind of be in recovery, and I'd do it and be fine, because it's a relatively minor operation. Although it was spinal surgery, it wasn't a major op. So I was kind of, as it turned out, that year kind of went away, and I was building bits, but no really. I know I'm going into surgery, and I was feeling like at that point I was kind of thinking, I don't know if I need to take this year off. It might be sensible to take the year off. We've done 2 great years. People know we're here. Let's maybe take this year off.
So that same instinct that has connected you with people in events and venues and created this is leading you to think, I maybe need to take care of myself now.
Aye, for the first time, probably. I think because I didn't want to disappoint anybody as well. Like, it was a big thing. I was like, I didn't want the third year to be lacklustre based on what we'd done, and maybe no raise as much for charity. So I took the decision halfway through the year that I know that my surgery's coming, and I'd done a lot of groundwork. I'd laid a lot of work ready for the third one. But in the real world, if I go into surgery by the September, am I going to be fit by the February, or if it's later in the year? As it turns out, the decision was made. I went into surgery in the December 23rd.
Oh, Merry Christmas!
Exactly. So I was out on Christmas Eve though. But so obviously, like, not to run that year was the right decision. You know, I would never have been fit for it and all the rest of it. And there was nobody. I did speak to people. I did ask certain people, "Do you want to come in and be my 50%?" And then when it comes to it, you're me, essentially. And there was nobody willing to step up. A couple of people said that they wouldn't because they felt they couldn't do justice to what I'd done, which I think's rubbish. I think there was a few people that were definitely capable.
You're blushing when you say that,
but there was definitely people that was that were more than capable to do what I'd done. And but again, I suppose I should take that. It's a nice thing for people to say that they felt they couldn't. So went into the surgery, and surgery was a success. It was absolutely brilliant. Came out of hospital as I say, on Christmas Eve, and spent Christmas and that on my back. No, really,
literally.
very much. Exactly. I remember my first trip out was going down to see friends in the Looney Duke at Seafield,
yeah,
because that's where I was meant to be as well.